Hello, everyone. I'm Adam. Thank you for joining me for this week's Dev Update and Community Q&A session. We're going to jump right in. As always, we are going to talk about what we are currently working on with our latest updates, what is on deck or on the short-term roadmap, or essentially what is next after we finish whatever we're currently working on, what we're moving into. So that is our upcoming section. And the intent there is to show everyone just what the priority is of what we're moving into next. This can sometimes shift and change depending on feedback that we're getting out there and everything else. But we want to try to be as clear and visible with what's next on deck as we can be. And then you can ask me questions, and all you have to do is jump into chat right there, type the word question, and then continue with the actual question itself. And our magical ritual robot Demibot is going to collect all of those, and I'm going to jump into whatever I can get to with the time that we have. So, latest updates. Jumping right in. On the content side, last week we released the first adventure path for Pathfinder 2e, Age of Ashes. So that is now available. You can grab that and play through that one. It is a literal classic at this point in time, in this short tenure that it's actually, shorter than I thought with Pathfinder 2e. I thought it had been around longer than it has been because it feels like as much as I've played it that it has been maybe. But this is an instant classic here with Age of Ashes. And you can pick that up right now on Pathfinder Nexus. And then on deck, we do have the Lost Omens travel guide that I believe the street date for that is August the 31st. And so on August the 31st, you will be able to get your hands on this one. Really, really cool book as well here. And so I'm excited for people to see this one. I love the idea and the concept behind it. Paizo continues to really just kill it when it comes to coming up with book concepts and executing them. So really looking forward to people seeing the travel guide. And then we do have the next installment of Bloodlords Graveclaw that is going to be coming out, I believe, on that same date. If I'm wrong on that, somebody can correct me in chat. But I believe it's the same date that Graveclaw is going to be available. And in the upcoming section, we will talk about what is after that as well. So we'll get there in just a moment. And then on the character engine side, we are in nothing else than the nitty gritty at this point. We are getting into so much minutia of what we are putting together here. And the thing that we are focused on this week is something that we are calling modifiers, and that word can mean a whole lot of things to people out there. But the best way to try to explain it is I have teased a little bit in the past that we have an internal system that is collecting, we'll call it the more static data. So this is data that is going to be just always pretty much the same for all the game elements out there. So if we're talking about a spell capturing things like duration, that is a pretty static thing that is going to just be intrinsic to whatever that spell is. And so that kind of data is being captured in our internal tool that we call Tabula. And so we have this internal tool that's capturing that data. We have been for weeks and months making sure that that data is in place that we're going to need here in our character builder and digital character sheet. And so that process is closing out. And then we have our engine, so this visual scripting language that is going to power what these different game elements, classes, ancestries, spells, all the items that you can collect on your adventures. All of those things are going to be kind of brought to life through these engines that we're creating, and this spider web of connectivity with these engines that we've shown a couple of screenshots with. Modifiers are the kind of the translation layer that is going between that static data that we have in our internal system and then into the more dynamic parts that are happening in that engine. So these modifiers are kind of it's almost like an adapter that you would have if you got an HDMI port and you're trying to change that to, I don't even know if this is possible, but I'm going to say USB. Can you change HDMI into USB? I've never tried that. I don't know if there's a reason to do it. But anyway, I think you get the point that I'm trying to get to there, that these modifiers are going to kind of pull it all together. And so we are getting into that process this week of kind of writing that layer of translation and getting all of that information entered. It is not going to be too long. I definitely expect in the month of September that we will start showing off some actual pieces of the character builder. So the time is getting closer and closer that we're going to start to show that this is not vaporware. We're working very, very hard. We've got a whole lot of effort that's going on, and that we are getting this together. I can't wait for people to get their hands on it in early access, and even in that early alpha state. It's going to be really, really great and useful for many of you who are playing out there. And from that starting point that we're going to have, this is where, getting your feedback and making sure that we are hitting the mark and checking the boxes that we need to check. That is the most important thing that can happen for us as we get this out here soon. TM. We are getting closer and closer to this, and we're really excited about it. So that is what is going on right now. We do have a release 54 that's probably going out this week. And with this, you're not going to notice too much of an overt change with this yet, but we are starting to shore up some tweaks that are going to be necessary as we move forward into character management, but then also into content sharing and some of the other things that are going to be happening here soon as well. And one of those changes is the tweaking of this to my groups, as opposed to what you currently see out there with adventure portals on Demiplane, where you can use matchmaking and the game discovery to find people to play with. And then you get this adventure portal where you can connect with video and chat and all the things that you need to play there. This is kind of being refactored into this concept of groups, and this is going to be important when it comes to convenience for content sharing and all of those things. You can expect some more news on content sharing pretty soon here. So in the next few weeks, we're going to be sharing what's going on with content sharing, because one of the things that we have discovered in the course of early access is, all of the things have to be done before we come out with the character management piece. But everyone is enjoying the content that you currently have access to in this pre-order early access phase with our digital reader and the game compendium. And so we have heard that loud and clear. And so from a sequencing standpoint, we are likely to drop content sharing ahead of the character management piece of that, to allow you to start enjoying that piece as we are finishing up the rest. And again, the main thing there is it's just a change in sequencing for us. It's not really, it's definitely not a detour. It's not slowing us down in any way. It's more about just when we decided to make that available for you, the fans out there. And so again, a little bit of a tease there, but more info on that pretty soon. And we'll explain. I'm pretty excited about the way that content sharing is going to work. So looking forward to sharing those details. On the Vampire Nexus side, from a content perspective, we currently have Chicago by Night and Cults of the Blood Gods up for pre-order and available, to secure in the pre-order status right now. We had hoped that those actually would be out, this week or next was kind of where we were targeting that. We have heard from the World of Darkness team that there are some updates and errata coming to those books in the very short term here. And so we're waiting on an update with that. And they have asked us to hold off on putting those out until we can incorporate those changes. So again, more details on what that means, in the future. But I did want to share that we are kind of holding off until we hear from the World of Darkness team to be able to put those next 2 books out there and be available. We are, however, and you'll see in the upcoming section, going to move on to the next couple on the list, and not let putting these actually out for you slow that part of the process down. So we're going to continue to work on the next couple of books, and depending on what kind of update we get from the World of Darkness team, this is where we will make a determination as to are all 4 of them going to come out at the same time, or whatever that looks like. But once we hear from them, we'll have more information. And then we do have some new Nexuses incoming in the next month or 2, is what we're looking at currently. And so we have our first 2 free league games. We're going to share more about that very soon as well. And I'm excited. We are working on this right now, getting these ready for early access, getting the content ready, getting the look and feel of these Nexuses and the configuration all completed. And they are really looking great. I can't wait to see the first couple of free league games come in. And we've been working on another, unfortunately, still super secret Nexus that we're going to have much more clarity on in the next couple of months here. But it's something that we've put in place, and we're going to be ready for early access when that time comes as well. So wanted to explain the reason that I'm talking about those couple of things in vague terms, because you all know that I'm pretty transparent with this stuff. If it's something I can talk about, I'm going to talk about it. But in this case, can't talk about these, but I include them on the list, not to be a frustrating tease or anything like that, but to just illustrate what the team is working on, that we have the team working on this breadth of activity. And these are things that the team is working really hard on. They just happen to be some things that we can't quite talk about all the details of yet. All right, upcoming character builder and digital sheet. We are, of course, working on finalizing everything for this pilot with Pathfinder 2e. Very excited to get in, that into your hands. But as I've said before, Pathfinder 2e, the reason that we love it is there are so many options, and it is definitely a crunchier game than many of the other games that we're going to support. And this has made it just a perfect pilot for us, because it means that as we are digging into this, not only providing a digital resource like this for a game that has that much going on with it, it's going to be really helpful to have this digital character builder and digital, this interactive digital character sheet. So it's going to really be a great bit of convenience that people can have out there playing. So that's reason number 1 that we love that we've been able to start with Pathfinder 2e. But then also it means that it from a platform perspective and what's going on with all of the other games that we will be bringing into a character builder and digital sheet format, it's going to help us to go through so many paces and cover so many different areas and corners of functionality that is going to make these other games so much smoother like butter. And so we can't wait to get into some of these other games. And we are in the middle of a vampire design phase right now. And so we may tease some of that out, pretty soon. But I love the way that this is already starting to come together. I can't wait to start using that digital character sheet for Vampire. And then we are working on the first couple of free league games that I mentioned on that last screen, and the redacted Nexus. We're conceptualizing how all of that will need to look and flow and everything else too. And so the main reason, again, that I'm talking about those things is that once we get the initial character builder and digital character sheet out into early access and alpha here for Pathfinder, we're going to use that time to collect feedback, understand what's working, what might not be working the way that we want it to, and parse all of that through. We are going to be able to continue to move on some of these other games, and it's our hope with putting this platform together. And one of the reasons that it is taking us, this long is that when we start getting into other games, the hope for us is that we will start talking in units of time that are weeks instead of months. Okay. And so again, we've got to see how that plays out. We don't know because we haven't done it yet, but that is definitely the target and what we've been looking for. And so I think that, either way, based on everything that I've seen and the past life of seeing some of this stuff come together, I think that we are absolutely going to see a much, much shorter amount of time when we start to onboard Vampire and some of our free league games and some of the other games that we haven't even announced yet. So this is the reason that we have been, putting all this extra work into the platform of our character management piece. And this is going to make coming to Demiplane and using these Nexuses a really, really convenient thing that, all these great games that you're playing, they're going to be here in one place. And so really excited about it. Things are going to start hitting here as we, end this calendar year and in the first part of next year. So exciting times. The team is really, again, just working hard. We see some light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm looking forward to everybody being able to come out into the light and walk around and enjoy the sun on that other side. All right, from a game content perspective, we've got this big Kingmaker tome that is coming out. I think it's 600 plus pages is what we're looking at here. And so this is an honest to goodness classic, a verified classic. And so this update to Kingmaker is going to be something else. It's the most popular adventure path that has ever happened for Pathfinder. And so really, really looking forward to everyone being able to do this one. It has a lot of content for our team to crawl through, but we've started that process of getting everything ready for it. And we're still pinning down the specific release date. Because this one, with everything going on in the world, there have been some delays here or there, but it is coming and it is something that we're going to be ready for, and we're really looking forward to it. The next adventure path that we're going to be hitting is Agents of Edgewatch. And then this is a question that we've gotten several times in the last several weeks, so I wanted to touch on this, but we are going to be including the adventure path player guides. Those are something that we're going to start working on and making available, so you'll be able to get the different game elements, backgrounds, etc., that are available in those adventure path player guides, and you'll be able to also access those. And so those are going to be freely available, just as they are, in other places. And so those are things that we are going to start working on, and we'll keep you posted on the progress for those. But we hope to catch those up relatively soon on the adventure paths that we have available, and we will continue to work through as we make an adventure path available. The goal would be to have that player guide available at the time that we release that adventure path. And then on the vampire side, the next two that we are starting work on is Sabbat the Black Hand and Second Inquisition. Incredible books that I've read cover to cover in this process, at least about twice now, as we're getting into character management, everything else, and kind of conceptualizing everything for Vampire. So great books. Those are the next two that are on deck for us. And as I've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, we also are working on creature adjustments for weak, elite, cryptid, and the possibility of any new things that Pathfinder will introduce in the future, and some accessibility updates. I believe we've already gotten some of those updates in for action icons for our listings and some of the places where those are presented. Now what we are working on is replicating that across the digital reader content, which is a little bit more ground to cover, but it's something that the team is also working through, and we will provide an update on that as soon as we have it. All right, I think that is it for upcoming as well. Let's check out questions. I don't see any questions coming in here. So I am wondering, does that mean that Demibot messed up, or if everyone is just completely mum today, and you don't have any questions for me? So we're gonna see if questions are broken. So I'm going, oh, is Demibot still working? Yes, I see. I definitely see. So Demibot is still working. Yes. So there you go. All right. So let's see. We've got from Anchor 89. What about weak Eliar? I am not familiar with what you're saying there. If you can give me a little more context, is that something that was introduced in Dark Archive? Let me know the context of that one, and I can probably get you a better answer. So sorry, lots of things bouncing around my head, and I don't know what that one means. Death 25. How was GenCon? GenCon was really good. It's definitely strange at this point where we find ourselves with everything that's going on in the world. I would say that there definitely was a feel to it that felt closer in attendance and just engagement to 2018 Gen Con. And so again, take that as you will, but I think that definitely far closer to what that was pre-pandemic. And I personally was there for a shortened amount of time, had to get back for something with the family on Sunday, but in that very short amount of time had just meeting after meeting. I mean, I was running from one end of the convention center to the other multiple times across the couple of days that I was there, and all of those meetings went really, really well, and they all will translate into things that will go really, really well for you all out there in the future. So it was a very, very valuable to be able to touch base with so many great publishers and partners out there. So really looking forward out there. All right, so we've got Dragon News Weak Elite is what Anchor 89 meant. Okay, that now makes complete and total sense. And so yeah, the intent is we're going to cover all the things. I don't think Weak Elite is a real thing, but I believe I'm getting the joke. If it actually is a real thing, then that's something that again we will dig into. But I think that we are trying to do an oxymoron here. And because now, at the same time, though, I would not put this past the designers at Paizo. So if it's real, then we will cover it. But yeah, we will be. The entire point of that adjustments system is we are going to be putting that in place for even if they introduced that or anything else in the future. As long as the concepts are generally the same, we would have a system in place that would cover those things. 3 Dragon minimum. Have you ever tried out Albert Rodeo VTT? Yes, I have actually. I am a big fan of Albert Rodeo. I have used it many times. I think that it really does the trick for me. If I am ever wanting to use a VTT, I'll be honest, I don't use VTTs much these days. I typically will just use video. Demiplane, of course, is a great place to do that. But if I'm playing with others on Zoom or any of the other video applications out there, we end up not using and relying on that map too much these days. So I would say 9 out of 10 times I play is probably Theater of the Mind focused. Sometimes we do play with kind of more of a hybrid approach, though. And what I mean by that is it's still, what I would consider Theater of the Mind, but we're using a map for general locations and, just almost like it's a whiteboard that we have behind us. And Albert Rodeo is really does a great job at that. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of Albert Rodeo. T Cooper 204, are y'all streaming Children tonight? Yes, we have a new episode of Children of Erte tonight. I am really, really looking forward to it. It's been a couple of weeks since we played, and so really looking forward to tonight. Another quick note: since we did have to miss last week, we had some schedule snafus that happen when you've got all these people who are as important as my other cast members are. Sometimes the schedule conflicts with things, and I think this one was something cool that I won't say who it was, but somebody was doing something cool, and we were not able to play. And so we are going to make that up though. So on the first week of September, that would ordinarily be an on the air episode, just the normal bye week for us. We are instead going to play that week, but we also are doing everything we can not to miss the on the air episode. And so right now the concept is on the air with Alicia Marie is going to be the lead-in for the actual episode. So should be pretty fun. We're going to try that out. We haven't done that before. So we're going to have, the talk show happen with Alicia Marie and, of course, our host, Sam DeLev. That is going to happen. And then we are going to roll right into the actual play episode. So that would be, September the 5th-ish, somewhere around there. All right. Cato Flex, what was your favorite food truck at GenCon this year? I actually did not eat at a food truck this year. And for me, that was probably just more like every time I remotely walked close to them, they were so slammed and crowded that I did not want to wait in line that long. So this year, now in years past, big food truck fan. Okay, I'm a big food truck fan in general. So there are some very, very good ones out there. But this year, with so many meetings, I actually think that I had a reservation to eat for every meal from the time I arrived there Thursday night until I left, Saturday midday. So, but I ate some incredibly good food. Lot of really great restaurants are around that area. All right, let's see. One more, it looks like. And if you've got another one, you can ask it while I'm answering this. We've got a couple of minutes, it looks like here. Artemis Themp, what is your favorite Pathfinder adventure? Wow. What a question. Are we counting? Yeah. Okay, so I do have to say this. So I started to ask myself, are we counting first edition? And I think that would probably be in balance for the question. But also, I don't know if it matters because my answer is going to be Kingmaker. I have played through Kingmaker twice, once as a player and once running it. And thankfully, I got to do the player part before I did the running part. But Kingmaker, that concept. So when I started playing D&D back in very, very young days, when I was doing that, we were playing Dragonlance. And one of the things that the dungeon master at that time did with us was, as we got a little bit higher level, we started carving out some kind of land that became like a realm that we could do. And so I think that Kingmaker really just checked so many of those boxes for me as I played through that. Now, of course, that's been years ago, and I've just been reading the new edition that we have here. But Kingmaker is definitely the standout for me. But I have liked many of them, and this is where I think that Paizo, from the onset of the company, they have, kind of where they got their start was this concept of an adventure path in those magazines that they publish. And I think that they are just top tier when it comes to adventure content. So it is a tough choice, but I loved playing through Kingmaker and running it. And then I've really liked some of the recent kind of frivolous and fun things that they've done. And so, for instance, Little Trouble in Big Absalom, I have run it probably 5 times because I love kobolds, but I also love the movie that the play on the name was coming from, but I also just like the tone and kind of that goofy joy that comes from something like that. And so yeah, I think their new stuff is really really good, but I would say that the favorite's Kingmaker. So seeing this 600 page again tome coming is a really really exciting thing. And if you didn't get a chance to play Kingmaker in those first edition days, I really recommend that you check it out if you're out there playing second edition, because it is really, really solid. And like I said, to me, it captured just some kind of nostalgia. And, there's this concept in video games when you level up in RPGs and then you get to carve out your own piece of the world. I remember playing Fable a long time ago and going from being called Chicken Chaser to, Liberator, and all the things that would happen. That concept is something that really resonates with a lot of us as we're playing these games, and so I think Kingmaker does an incredible job of that. All right, and just one more that doesn't look like a question, but I will always end with it. Anchor 89. Just a thank you to the team for all their hard work to make this happen. Thank you, Team Demiplane. And I thank you, Team Demiplane. And I am really excited about everything that lies ahead. I appreciate all of you out there for joining me this week. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, Demiplane time, Demiplane channel. Hope everyone has a good one. Later, Gators.